run. The chairperson of APROCA, Musa Sabali, told farmers they need to work together to ensure they surmount some of the challenges they face in the course of their production. The Deputy Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Sirifo Bojang, spoke of his ministry's readiness to assist cotton farmers in the Gambia. This meeting, being the sixth of its kind organized by the African Cotton Producers Association, forms part of the association's drive to revitalize production and trade in the region. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
You can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio live. We'll take our first break. Stay tuned.
It is a story of a land where communication has been our song, our drumbeat. This is who we are. We dream of a better future, one that is upon us now. We are close to the heart of the world. We are as old as time. The soul of man began with us. We are Africa.
Welcome back. More details are emerging about the U.S. drone that Iran claims it has brought down last week. A U.S. official has told news network CNN the drone was part of a CIA mission over western Afghanistan and that the crash was caused by the failure of its guiding system. Iranian media say the craft was captured relatively intact, but the U.S. disputes that. They say Iran has a pile of rubble on its hands. CNN's Pentagon correspondent Chris Lawrence has details of that story.
They're now telling us they had satellite images of that drone, where it went down in Iran. They said all options were initially on the table to try to retrieve it, but the one to send a ground force in to try to actually get it back was quickly shot down when the White House made it clear there wouldn't be any boots on the ground in Iran. They also considered bombing the wreckage, which is something they typically do when drones go down in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But again, firing missiles and bombs into the wreckage also ruled out. So they say Iran now has a very damaged drone and is now trying to figure out what to do next. When the U.S.'s newest stealth drone crashed on the wrong side of the Afghanistan-Iran border, it may have sparked a shopping spree for America's potential adversaries.
I'm guessing there was several people that tried to buy airline tickets to Iran from Moscow and Beijing the last couple of days.
Analyst Peter Singer says if the RQ-170 is relatively intact, the Iranians will likely give the drone to China, who can unlock its secrets and sell the completed technology back to Iran.
The Chinese probably have one of the best technology gathering espionage services in the world, if not the best.
Retired Air Force intelligence officer Colonel Cedric Layton says the missing drone is faster, smarter, and stealthier than commonly used drones like the Predator. On radar, the Sentinel comes across as being something other than it actually is.
They show up very briefly, if at all. They show up perhaps in something that could be disguised as, let's say, a flock of birds or something like that, or another type of aircraft.
The Sentinel flew surveillance over Osama bin Laden's compound in Pakistan. Military officials say if the drone's technology is compromised, other nations will likely devise better defenses against it.
And if they emulate us, we will find it much more difficult to go after them and to go after their air defenses as well as the assets that they're trying to protect. In the case of Iran, that would perhaps be their nuclear weapon systems.
So if all this sounds far-fetched, considering there's nothing but fragments left, remember this. One of America's first stealth planes was shot down over Serbia in 1999. Balkan military officials say Chinese agents bought up pieces of that plane from local farmers. And when China introduced its stealth plane earlier this year, a lot of experts say it borrowed from American technology.
Barack Obama has laid out his major campaign theme for the presidential contest that takes place next November. In a speech on Tuesday, he spoke about economic fairness, giving middle-class Americans what he calls a fair stake. Well, there are 7 Republicans vying for their party's nomination. Right now, the front-runner is a Washington veteran who is running as an outsider. Newt Gingrich is a man of contradictions, but his double-digit lead in the polls is undisputable. We'll now take a second break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now to sports. The Serekunda East knockout final between Bolkon of Bundung and Medina FC of Talinding ended in a 1-all stalemate, sending the tie into a replay. Bolkon opened the scoring on the 4th minute before being pegged back on the half-hour mark in a mouth-watering 90 minutes. Mamadou S. Jaro has more.
An eventful 90 minutes, entertaining with plenty of chances on both sides, watched by a capacity crowd. Bolkon got off the blistering start, taking an early lead with only 4 minutes on the clock. Bolkon exploited the space on the right flank before releasing a pinpoint cross into the path of Modunjai, who made no mistake to tap the ball into the back of the net. 1-0 Bolkon leads and a perfect start for the Bundung side, but did little to silence the noisy Medina fans. Bolkon should have been 2-0 up on the half-hour mark had it not been for Habibu Kruma's wasted opportunity. And then moments later, Mulay Jassi's 36-minute effort from a free kick just outside the box was pushed over the bar by the Medina shot-stopper. Medina responded back on the 34th minute to level the tie at 1-all from their first meaningful attack, and what a brilliant goal it was. A super cross from Bakara Mosise and a perfect diving header by Chernonjai brought the two sides on equal terms. 1-0 the scoreline going into the halftime break. From the pitch to matters off the pitch, while the teams were busy preparing for the final 45-minute showdown, the officials of the Serekunda Sports Development Organization inaugurated this new pavilion, constructed at a tune of over $700,000. Another milestone development for one of the country's popular football grounds. Back to matters on the pitch, the second period turned out to be more of a one-sided affair, with Medina the more dominant side. The Talinding boys were all over their Bundung opponents, with their young sensational prodigy, Alassane Jaju, providing all sorts of trouble for Bolkon. The youngster entertained the crowd with some delightful movements anytime he gets the ball under his feet. Medina came very close just after the break, but substitute Alassane Marong's deflected shot hit the upper side of the crossbar, much to the relief of the Bolkon players and supporters. The boys in blue and white, backed by their unrelenting cheering supporters, continued to tear apart the Bolkon defense. On the 65th minute, Alassane Jaju forced his way into the box, but his acute angle shot drifted across the face of goal. Then came this ferocious strike from Modou Sarr, which was dealt by Cherno Samba. With the score poised 1 goal apiece and no further goals at full time, the game will now be decided in another 90-minute showdown. If not, a post-match penalty shootout will separate these two sides. Modes Jalo, GRT Sports.
It's now time for the weather report from the Central Forecast Office.
The Gambia is endowed with a wonderful landscape full of baobab trees. Like its Cape Point in Bakau, it is one of the most exotic sceneries in the world. The baobab tree is a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and resourcefulness. For the baobab tree provides good food in times of hunger, rents its bark for medications, and its sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company like the baobab tree, 100% African and purely Gambian in all aspects, in know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton,